This is question number 41 from the study guide, Trigonometry, to the end. Here we go. Practice graphing. That's how you say the word. Practice graphing. Sine has an amplitude, so it's never a negative number. So we write it as a positive value. So the amplitude of this wave is 1. The period, because there's a formula. You want to say hi in the video? You can say hi. I'm doing a video for my students, so it's important that I get my work done. But you can watch if you want. Is there a question? What's the question? You are so smart. You're right. 5 take away 5 is 0.
We have 5 just and we have 5 equals 10.
What? 5 and 5 is 10? You're so smart.
Goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Aw, thank you, sweetheart. All right. So here we go. The beginning and the end. There you go. I'm a lucky guy. So beginning and the end, that's pi over 2. In the middle is another middle point. In the middle of those, it actually goes down to -4. That's because there's a reflection. And then it goes up to +4, and that's the pattern that we're going to follow. I don't have to go all the way across, so I'll do a little bit, but I don't have to fill in everything. So it goes. I needed to show the pattern long enough so that it's understandable that I know the pattern. All right, that's good. And there you go. Okay, let's look at number 42. We're graphing tangent. So there's no amplitude to tangent. The period is 1 pi. And then instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the b value right away. So that gives me 3 pi over 2. Tangent starts with a point of inflection. And then at 3 pi over 2 is another point of inflection. And then in the middle is an asymptote. Where did I put my fancy pink asymptote? It was here. What happened? Did one of my kids take it? All right. I have another one here. I don't know what happened to the other one. Hopefully this one works. So in the middle. Oh, it works. There's the asymptote. And then that's the pattern we're going to follow. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Now, a value is 2. Tangent goes up to the right. So find the middle, go up to 2. Find the middle, go down to -2. So there's your pattern. Done. All right, number 43. In question number 43, secant has no amplitude. The period is 2 pi, and I'm just going to do the reciprocal again. This is 6 over 8, which is the same as 3/4. So the answer is 3 pi over 4. Secant starts with the upper vertex. So our a value is 1.5. So we're going to start at 1.5, and then 3 to the right will also be 1.5. So that begins and ends one cycle. Exactly in the middle will be -1.5. And then in the middle of those, did I lose my, there it is. I thought I lost it again. Asymptote. Can't blame my kids if I lose it again. And that is the pattern we're going to follow. So 1, 2, 3 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, and then in the middle. 1, 2, 3, and then in the middle. So just follow that pattern. And then in between our asymptotes. And then what does the picture look like? So the upper vertices fold up and the lower ones fold down. All right, we're done. Number 44. I want to graph 3 times cosecant 2x. There's no amplitude. The period is 2 pi divided by 2. That's 1 pi. Cosecant starts with an asymptote. So we're going to start with an asymptote. The period is pi, so at pi will also be an asymptote. And then the pattern is that the middle is going to be a third asymptote. So it starts with middle, middle, middle. In between the first 2 middles, we go up to 3. And then the next 2, we go down to -3. And that is the pattern. So I want you to repeat that pattern to the left and to the right. Three, -3, +3, -3, +3. I can follow a pattern. There it is. All right, number 45 involves shifts. So for number 45, we first have to write down what A, B, H, and K equal. So we're going to write down that A is 1/2, and B is 1, and H is pi, and K is 3. So there's our first step. Then, when I go to the right, cotangent doesn't have an amplitude, but the period is 1 pi divided by the B value, which is 1, so it's just pi. The phase shift is also pi. The vertical shift is 3, so everything's been shifted up 3. So I'm going to draw the midline at 3. And then I'm going to go to the phase shift, which is at pi. So this is where my graph starts. Cotangent starts with an asymptote. So there my graph is started. The period is pi. That's 4 to the right and 4 to the left. Those are my asymptotes. Now, in between the asymptotes is our point of inflection on the midline. And then the last step, cotangent goes up to the left. So we're going to use 1/2 and goes from the midline and goes down to the right. Done. Number 46, we're also going to write down A is 2.5, B is 2/3, H is -3 pi over 4, and then K is -1. I think if you can do number 46, you fully understand the patterns and structure of these trig waves, all right? So let's see if we can do it. So on the right, the amplitude is the A value, which is 2.5. The period is 2 pi divided by B, so I'm going to do the reciprocal. The 2's cross out, so it's 3 pi. The phase shift is -3 pi over 4. And the vertical shift is -1. So there's step 1 there. Next, we go to the graph. We're going to do the midline, and then we'll do the phase shift. So the midline is at -1. The phase shift's at -3. 1, 2, 3. Here's -3 pi over 4. Cosine starts at the top of the wave. So from the midline, we're going to go up 2.5. So from the midline, we go up 2.5, right there at the phase shift, and that's where the graph starts. 3 pi will be just off our graph. So I think. So 3 pi is 12 to the right. So if I count 12 to the right, I think I get it. Right here is 12 to the right. That's the beginning and end of one cycle. So 1 pi is 4, 2 pi is 8 to the right, 3 pi is 12. So if I count from here all the way to here, I do get to 12, and it's on my graph. Exactly in the middle, which is 6 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, goes to the bottom of the wave, which is down 2.5 from the midline. So there's the top and the bottom. in the middle, which is 3 across. 1, 2, 3 on the midline. And again, 1, 2, 3 on the midline. And there's our pattern that we're going to follow. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, the midline. 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom of our wave. All right, now we're going to draw it. And you have your wave. Awesome. So if you can do that without me, then you totally understand the pattern and structure of graphing a cosine wave. All right, the rest of the question, inverse and composition questions. Let's see if we can do that. Do you know your unit circle? What's the inverse of root 2 over 2? That's the y coordinate. So at what angle is that true? So it's 45 or pi over 4. Arctangent. At what point when I divide would that be the true? So it's this point. We know it's in quadrant number 4. So if I divide the y over the x, that's the angle I get. What angle is that? And we write it as a negative angle. So that's negative 60 or negative pi over 3. For 49, where is the x coordinate? Negative root 3 over 2. So this is going to be in quadrant number 2. It's a 30-degree reference angle in quadrant number 2. So if I go 180, take away 30, that angle is 150, or we would write the angle as 5 pi over 6. For number 50, we have a composition here. So all we have to understand here is they undo each other. This must be between negative 1 and positive 1, which it is. So then the answer is just negative 2 over 7. These undo each other. There is no domain restriction. So whatever the number is, they undo each other, and there's your answer. Here, again, arc sine means inverse. They undo each other, but that number is too big. It has to be between negative 1 and positive 1. 5 over 4, too large, so this value doesn't exist. 53, again, they undo each other, and that is the correct angle, the negative angle in quadrant number 4. For number 54, they undo each other, and that's the correct angle in quadrant number 2. That's where it should be found. For 55, they undo each other, but this is not the correct in my restriction. Negative 3 pi over 2, if I go clockwise, would end up at the top of the circle. So as a negative angle, would end up here. So coterminal, what's the positive angle that gets me to the same spot? And the answer then would be positive pi over 2. 56, they do undo each other, but this is the wrong angle for cosine. So 11 pi over 6 is right here, and that would give me the answer. The x value there is root 3 over 2. So I need the same answer, but within my restriction. So the same answer is actually up here. This is also root 3 over 2. Same answer. It's just in my restriction, and that answer is 30 degrees or pi over 6. Number 57. See if we can do it. Hi, Juliana.
60. I can't count to 100.
You're
I can't
so
count to 130.
No way. Wow.
And I can count to 150.
What? All right, so 4 pi over 3. Thank you. 4 pi over 3 is in quadrant number 3.
Hi, buddy.
There's my other twin.
Joshua goes in. Dr. Tommy goes in.
There you go. It's in the wrong quadrant. So for me to understand it, for 4 pi over 3 is a 60-degree reference angle. The y coordinate there is what I'm worried about. That's negative root 3 over 2, right there at the bottom. So I need to know what angle also gives me that answer. It's right here at the bottom. So it's in quadrant number 4 as a negative angle. So I write that as a negative angle, or you could write that as negative pi over 3. For number 58, they do undo each other, but this is in the wrong quadrant. So negative 5 pi over 4 is right here if I go clockwise in quadrant number 2. I need to know that the value there is negative 1. And then, can you close the door, please? All right, I'll be right back. We'll see if that lasts. I closed and locked the door. There'll probably be like bam bam, like some Flintstones banging on the door to get in. But here we go. So that's negative 5 pi over 4. When I divide, the answer is negative 1. So the angle that gives me the same value that's in the correct domain restriction is here in quadrant number 4. It's a 45 degree angle. And so I just write it as negative 45 or negative pi over 4. And that gives me the same answer. Number 59. In number 59, we're working backwards again. So if I look inside, that's the x coordinate. So the x coordinate's root 3 over 2. The y coordinate that goes with it is 1/2. So sine is the y coordinate. So the answer is 1/2. For 60, the point that gives me 1 is root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. So remember, tangent's y divided by x. That's what gives me 1. Cosine is the x coordinate, so the answer is just root 2 over 2. For number 61, arc sine negative 1, so that's the y value to be negative 1. Tangent is y divided by x using that. So the y value divided by the x value, this answer is undefined because negative 1 over 0 is undefined. 62, the value of cosine at pi over 3. What is the, eventually I need to know the angle at the end. So the value of cosine at pi over 3 is the x value there. So that's 1/2 root 3 over 2. So the x coordinate there is 1/2. Now I need to know the y coordinate is 1/2. What's the angle that goes with this point? So the answer is 30 or pi over 6. The value of sine at 2 pi is the y coordinate there, which is 0. And the angle that gives you the answer 0 for tangent is also 0. That's 0 over 1. That's 2, and you got it. If you know your unit circle, they're quick questions. The value of sine at negative 3 pi over 4. So that's a 45 degree angle. Know what quadrant we're in. So negative 3 pi over 4 is going this direction. It's in quadrant 3. So sine is negative there. So we're going back to quadrant 4. So it's negative 45. But ultimately, I just need to know the y value. So we now have arc cosine negative root 2 over 2. The angle where that is true is actually back here in quadrant number 2. So where cosine goes with the x coordinate is negative in quadrant 2. That's the domain. And so we're trying to find the 45 degree angle in quadrant number 2. So that's 135 or positive 3 pi over 4. Man, these really test your ability of whether you know your unit circle or if you don't know your unit circle. 65. These are not unit circle questions because this is not on my unit circle. So tangent is y over x. So if I look here, it tells me y then would be negative 24 and x would be 7. To find the radius, it's the square root of x squared plus y squared. That is a Pythagorean triplet. What is that? Is it 25 or 26? I think it's 25. I'm going to cheat and use my calculator quick. Yep, 25. And then sine is the y coordinate over the radius. So that's negative 25, negative 24 over 25. One left, number 66. So the x coordinate is 3 root 5. The radius is 11. I want to find the y coordinate. So if I draw this triangle here, this is 3 root 5. This is 11. I want to find the y coordinate, and then I can find tangent from there. So 3 root 5 squared plus y squared is equal to 11 squared. See if I can do this. This is 9 times 5. That's 45. This is 121. Subtract 45. So 121 take away 45. That's 6. 1176. And so y then is the square root of 76. You could also write that 4 goes into it 19 times. So it's also 2 root 19. So then my answer is y over x. So that's 2 root 19 over 3 root 5. Multiply by root 5 to get your answer. Here's the last one. So root 5 times root 19. That's root 95. And then root 5 times root 5 is 5 times 3 is 15. And you got your answer. What the hey. Anyways, it's done. Mr. G Math over and out. Good job doing your work. I'm proud of you. Keep working at trigonometry. Till next time.